and we all have good intentions, but taking action is the biggest thing you can do, the best thing you can do for your goals, just for life in general. So I try to live by that as much as possible. So without further ado, this is episode number 2 of the podcast. Shoot, I was actually muted that whole time. So anyways, welcome to episode number 2, guys, of the Fit Veteran podcast. Wanted to get some content out for you guys. Wanted to make sure while I'm motivated to do so, that I just go ahead and do so, because I'm a big believer in just action taking and getting the job done when you got it. So without further ado, I'm going to start this podcast. Great topic today. Hang out, hashtag live in the comments if you're watching this live, hashtag replay if you're watching it after the fact. And if you got questions, I'll answer any questions you guys got after I did it last night. Hung around for a good 10-15 minutes answering questions afterwards. So don't be afraid. It's okay to be vulnerable here. This is a safe spot. And if you guys are wanting to grow, definitely get involved, all right? All right, so let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and start this podcast. Stand by. All right, welcome everybody to the Fit Veteran podcast, episode number 2. Had a lot of fun doing the first episode, but now we're really going to start getting into the nitty gritty, the meats and potatoes, the things that I want to pass on to you guys, and I think the things that I find very valuable, or have found very valuable in my fitness journey and watching my clients' fitness journey, all that good stuff. So today, the title of the podcast is Your Comfort Zone is Literally Killing You. Okay, so I know you guys all heard the cool quotes before, hey, the best things happen outside of your comfort zone. Whatever getting out of your comfort zone is the thing that's going to take you to the top, whatever the cool quotes are. And as much as that might sound cliche, it's very true, because I look at my life and everything I talk about, I'm always going to refer back to how I've experienced life, how it's helped me, because that's the only thing I know. Okay, I can't speak for other people. I can somewhat speak for my clients and seeing their success, but I've also know I've gone through my own journey. So I want to pass if I have any wisdom on to you guys about how we can get out of our comfort zone, how we can start hitting our goals, right? So some examples of the times I've had to step out of my comfort zone. So honestly, I think when I first joined the Marines is when I first had to step outside of my comfort zone. I was ready for a change. I was fresh out of high school. I went to college for a quarter. I think I failed 2 out of 3 classes. I'm not a school person at all, right? Never was, probably never will be. I'm a little bit more disciplined now, so that helps, but traditional schooling just wasn't for me. And that's okay. But when I found out it wasn't, I knew I had to do something, because I wasn't okay with just being mediocre, just hanging around the town I grew up in. I wanted more for my life. I wanted to travel. I wanted to do a lot of things. So that is when I joined the Marines, right? And excuse me, I think I had a point where, I was like, oh yeah, I get it. I understand the Marine, Thing was, I didn't know anything about the military when I went in. I was way behind. I think me and my buddy did the buddy program. We went to boot camp together. A lot of funny stories there. So if you're interested, just ask me and I'll tell you all about those. So, but anyways, we joined together. I think we went to the recruiting office, and 3 or 4 weeks later we were shipped off. So it was really, really quick. We didn't mess around. And I just remember getting there and just seeing, it was 0 dark 30s, 5 a.m., seeing formations of recruits, marching all in unison. And just, I was A, super intimidated, and then B, just kind of the oh shit factor hit me. What did I get myself into, right? Because that's when it hit me. It was wow, this might not be for me. This is a lot more than I had planned for. And again, mind you, I didn't know anything about ranks. I didn't know anything about military history. Like I was pretty ignorant to it all. So if any of you guys kids want to go in, or just if anybody's listening to this is younger and wants to go in, definitely do your homework. Like not to like, because it's going to be hard no matter what, but definitely understand how the military works before you go in, so you have more of an idea and you're not just lost. Because I was lost. Like I was the shitty recruit because I just didn't know, my head from my butthole, right? Like it was bad. So anyways, but the thing about the Marines, that what the Marines did for me in that whole 4-year stint that I was in, it gave me a lot of confidence coming out, right? Because I felt like I had to live up to that title always, right? Not just, hey, I was in for a little bit and now I'm out and it's cool and I did my time or whatever. I felt like I always had to present that, right? And I never had that in my life where I had that one thing that I could kind of like see myself as or identify as. But, when everybody, you come home and, oh, he's a Marine and hey, this is my son, the Marine, this is my brother, the Marine. Like you have to, for me, I feel like you have to live up to that. And you got to do the right thing if possible. So that gave me a lot of confidence. It gave me so much confidence that, when I got out of the Marines, I was like, I had my time where I wasn't doing much, I think, but I also knew that like, hey, if I can do that, I can do anything, right? So a lot of confidence there. And that's just one example of stepping out of your comfort zone. It was scary. It was super scary. And some people try their best to get out when they get to boot camp. They're like, oh, this isn't for me. And they might say like, just stay injured or something like that to try to get out. And, the drill instructors always told us that the quickest way out is through, right? And this is still a quote I use for my coaching clients, because when the times get tough, some of my clients are, oh, I want out, like this is harder than I thought. And I said, I always tell them the same thing. It's like the quickest way out is through. So do your time, do it as best as you can, get through it. And at that point, you can look in yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I did this. And you can choose what you want to do at that point. But you got to get through it. You got to weather that storm, right? Second time I felt I stepped out of my comfort zone when I wasn't ready was I started my own business. Okay, it was probably 3 years after I got out of the Marines. I started a gym business, right? Had no idea about business, knew a little bit about fitness, but even that, I got some cheap certification online. It wasn't anything special. And I had to learn as I went, right? But as I learned, I'm glad I took that first step and got outside of my comfort zone, because had I not did that, I wouldn't be here where I am today, okay? And now I'm in my second business, right? Making pretty decent money, have 12 employees, right? I get to serve people the way I want to serve them. And the gym wasn't always the best, and nothing's ever always like, just so awesome or whatever. There's always going to be something, but you have to remember that no matter what, stepping outside of the comfort zone and getting yourself to basically commit to something is the biggest part, right? Because if you never do that, you're never going to know what exactly you could have done. Okay. And I think that's the ultimate, way you don't want to end your life. It's like, oh man, I wish I would have did this. I wish I would have. You don't want to be on your deathbed thinking about all the things that you could have did, or you wish you could have did, or, you have to go out and kind of stick your neck out. Right. And that's what stepping outside your comfort zone is all about. And here's the thing about stepping outside your comfort zone. Once you do it once, doing it more often becomes a lot easier, right? It's the first time that becomes the scariest time. We've all probably done it, right? You guys can all think of a time when you have gone outside your comfort zone and it was all right? But maybe you did it once and you think like, I don't know if I could do that again, or this is completely different. I promise you it's not that different, right? Taking that step, getting out of your comfort zone, and just making it happen is always going to it's always going to feel different. But at the end of the day, it's literally always just the way you're thinking about it, right? For me, it was this podcast. I've never did a podcast before. I don't know anything about this stuff. But it's like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I committed to doing. And I identify as a person that honors their commitments, right? So you're going to see me doing this for at least 20 episodes. I told myself I got to give myself at least 20 episodes, right? They say that 90% of podcasts don't make it past 20 episodes. So if I could do 21 and whatever happens after that, I'm cool with it, right? So that's me stepping outside my comfort zone. And that would have been obviously a lot harder for me to do 10 years ago. But I've done it so many times that it becomes like a muscle. And once that muscle gets worked so much, it's muscle memory. It doesn't become as big of a deal, right? So another time that I had to step outside my comfort zone was hiring coaches. Guys, I've hired coaches for business. I've hired coaches for my fitness. I've hired coaches for my marriage, right? Because there's always people that's done it before you, done it better than you, and they're in a position that you want to be in, right? So I'm willing to pay those people to show me how to do it. And not only that, to show you, but to keep you accountable to doing it, right? Because let's be honest, all this stuff is free. You can get a workout guide right now on Google. You can go watch a YouTube video and do a follow-along workout with any trainer you want on YouTube, right? You can learn how to have a successful marriage. You can learn how to make that side hustle work. But are you going to do it, okay? So this is where it becomes stepping outside of your comfort zone, but also having that accountability, okay? And that's what coaching is all about, guys. Like, coaching is not just about giving you the plan. You can get the plan wherever you want. Like, everything's free nowadays. But are you going to take action on that plan when you have no skin in the game? Are you going to take action on that plan when you haven't done the research and you haven't even thought about, like, how will this work, right? And that's what the coach is for. The coach is there to help you get through your plateaus, because you're going to get stuck. No matter what you're going for, you're going to get stuck. So the biggest thing with the comfort zone, guys, is not stepping outside of it, right? And this is the topic of the podcast today, is not stepping outside your comfort. What happens every time you just don't do it? You think about it, and you just don't do it. Success loves action, massive action, right? Success wants you to think about it and then go do it. Success does not like for you to think about it, wait, and then finally maybe go do it, right? And then maybe put one foot in the door. You got to go all in, right? I think about that with obstacles too. I remember obstacle courses in the Marines, and I would see my buddies doing them. Like, one thing too is the peers. When you see peers doing it, it's like, man, if they can do it, I can do it. That was always my mantra in boot camp and in life, even in business. Like, I've seen people with $1 million businesses, and I'm like, well, they're no different than me, right? If they can do it, I can do it. If somebody dropped 100 pounds next to you, you could do that too if you need to. If somebody looks great in the gym and crushing it every single day, you could do that too. Maybe befriend that person or go with them, right? Because having that peer next to you and seeing that they did it, or, and you might look at somebody that's doing that like they're just built different. And I promise you, even if they are built different, there's people that's just like you that came from worse conditions, that struggled even more than you, that have done what you want to do, that have lost more weight than you, that have made more money than you, that have a better relationship than you. So getting that peer, seeing other people being successful is going to motivate you. But you got to start by getting outside of your comfort zone. Because if you don't get outside of your comfort zone, your dreams die. You keep putting it off. You don't do anything. You don't take action on it, right? And even if you fail, it's never a failure, because if you wouldn't have done anything, you would have never learned anything. Even with your failures, you're going to learn a ton. I mean a ton, right? And I would never consider that a failure. Just because you didn't hit that number or you didn't get exactly what you came for, it's not a failure. If you can take one or two things out of every situation that you step outside your comfort zone with, man, you're going to be a beast if you do that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, right? I'm doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu right now. No, I have a little bit of a wrestling background, so that helps. But I got guys half my size tapping me out every single day. If that ain't humbling, I don't know what is, guys, right? Nobody likes to be seen as weak. Nobody wants to get essentially beat up in front of other people. But I like the process of it. I like that I know that if I keep at it in a year, I could probably be just as good as these guys, or at least close to them, right? Or better than I was. Maybe not even as good as these guys because they've been doing it for 4 or 5 years, but I'll be able to hold my own against them. And when the new guys come in, I'll be throwing them around like everybody's throwing me around, right? So, and it's scary. I mean, even for me, I've done CrossFit when I first started CrossFit. Guys, I started doing CrossFit when I had my own gym, right? I had to leave my own gym and go to a different gym because I didn't do CrossFit. We did boot camp. But I wanted to learn the skill of CrossFit. I thought they were, the athletes in CrossFit were pretty cool, and I wanted to be a part of that, right? I wanted to step my game up. And that's what getting outside your comfort zone is all about. It's like, now I'm comfortable with CrossFit. It's not me even stepping outside of my comfort zone. I can go to any CrossFit gym in the nation and be cool and hold my own. It's not stepping outside my comfort zone anymore. So now I go to the next thing. All right, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I want to be able to go to any, BJJ class in the nation, drop in and hold my own, right? And it won't be that big of a deal anymore. So you see what happens when you can step outside your comfort zone, all of the things that you can accomplish, all of the great feelings that you can have, but you also see what happens when you don't, right? If you don't step outside your comfort zone, you're going to be stuck and you're not going to be happy with yourself. So take the leap. I know it's scary. Believe in yourself. Burn the boats, okay? Burning the boats means you're on that island. You're burning those boats so you can't get off the island, and you're going to figure it out on that island or die trying, right? You got to adopt that mentality with everything you go into, even if it's not life-threatening, it's just stressful. It's just scary, right? These are the modern day issues that we face. It's not trying to wrestle, a bear or get eaten by a lion or anything like that anymore. It's getting that promotion. It's being fit, feeling good about yourself. It's keeping your spouse happy. Those are the battles that we're fighting, and they're just as important. So hope you guys like that. Hope that you go do something outside your comfort zone today, tomorrow, whenever you hear this. Share this podcast with anybody that you need to, anybody that needs this, right? Even if you don't need this and you just liked the message, share it with some friends, show some love, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, guys, I appreciate you all being on here. Saw about 16 of you on here at one point. It was a little bit shorter podcast today, so I just wanted to get that message out there. Not sure if I have any comments. Okay, I have, I believe it's Melissa. I know your face. I can't remember the first name. How can I get used to eating enough protein when I'm really not very hungry? So that's a good question, Melissa. A lot of women, some men too, but a lot of women have this issue with eating enough protein. So biggest thing, if you're not being able to eat enough protein, if you're feeling hungry, you're not feeling hungry, if you're feeling stuffed all the time, right? And that happens a lot when people come into our program. Most of our clients, guys, are actually, and I think it's Melissa, I'm sorry if I messed your name up. Most of our clients actually that come into our program, she's in our program, they're eating not enough, right? So we have to actually bump them up in food intake to get their metabolism firing again, right? We call it a broken metabolism when when you're just not dropping body fat because you're not eating enough for what your body needs. So your body's holding on to what it can and storing it, right? Because it's essentially a starvation mode. It's essentially something where the body doesn't want to do what you want it to do because you're not giving it the energy to do it. So, but back to the question, protein intake, when you're not feeling hungry, I highly suggest protein shakes, right? Protein shakes are going to be super lower calories. They're going to be high in protein, and they're going to be able to get your protein intake up. So, if you don't like breakfast, a protein shake in the morning, super good. You could also do one in the afternoon, do one after a workout. So whenever you can get one in, even do a double scoop, add a little bit more water, do a double scoop and drink one in one sitting. I think that would help a lot. So anytime you're feeling like you can't get calories or protein up, always look for liquid solutions because liquids aren't going to fill you up as much as actual food. So hopefully that makes sense. I appreciate that question, Melissa. All right. All right, cool. So I think that's the only question on Instagram. Yeah, you're welcome. We'll see on Facebook here. All right, cool. So, nothing. Oh, here we go. What time will this start tomorrow? Jimmy says, what time will this start tomorrow? Honestly, tomorrow I probably will not do one. My next planned one is next Wednesday at 6:30. So if I do them, it's going to be around 6:30. This was kind of an impromptu one. Like I said, I'm a man of action, so I had kind of a wild hair in my butt to go ahead and do this episode because I had the idea for it. And I want to get these out as soon as possible, so that way when we share the podcast, people have more than one episode to listen to. They can listen to a few episodes at once. So I want to get at least the first 5 or 6 out decently quick. So, but good question. Typically Wednesdays I'll be going live in the group, and I'll be recording the podcast. So, and they'll be live shortly after that. So, if you guys are watching this, go to the actual podcast on Spotify or iTunes. Just type in Fit Veteran, and it will pop up the 2 episodes I've done so far. And I got plenty of more coming where that came from. So this was more motivational. The next one I want to do is more tactical. So probably be like the 3 things stopping you from, achieving your fat loss goals or something like that, just to give you guys ideas of what you could be doing wrong if you're stuck, or even just how to get started. So Ty said, real good talk, man. Good stuff. I appreciate the support, Ty. So thank you all for jumping on, commenting, liking, sharing the podcast. Anybody that needs to hear that message, guys, please share it with them. I know there's a lot of people that, they just don't step outside their comfort zone. They want to stay, comfortable all the time. But again, it literally kills you guys. Like, being inside your comfort zone basically is eating the foods you want to eat all the time, never working out, never doing much, staying inside the house. Like, that does not sound like a good life. You guys, life is a gift. We want to be out there. We want to be, social. We want to feel great about ourselves. We want our body internally and externally to be good, right? We want to be healthy. We want to live for a long time and see our friends and family as long as we can, right? So that's the biggest thing of getting outside your comfort zone. Even if it is just starting working out, just starting eating right, get out of that comfort zone. Get some help too, right? Asking for help is the biggest, struggle for especially us men. We don't like asking for help. right? We think we can do it all on our own. I'm here to tell you, I'm the same way. I don't like asking for help, but when it's something that I really want, I won't be afraid to at least ask. If not, just pay somebody to teach me, right? So, anyways, guys, appreciate you being on. I don't think there's any more comments, questions. Okay, cool. So we will talk soon, and thanks again.